I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have another amazing guest. We are working with the Perelman Performing Arts Center reimagined production of Cats called Cats the Jellicle Ball to bring you a series of episodes throughout their run. When I saw the cast announcements, the first message I sent was to Emma Sofia. So if you are new to The Wrong Cat Died, I encourage you to go back at some point and check out episode number 35, where Emma shares one of the most amazing audition stories I've ever heard for Cats. I hope the casting director who passed on Emma back then is now able to come see her because her performance as Cassandra and Skimbleshanks are amazing. So I'm excited to bring us full circle and welcome Emma back to the show.
Hello, hello.
You are the second guest I've had. And when I saw, I was like, I have to have you come back on because I've told many people about your audition story. Like,
oh
just
my God.
How crazy and fun and hilarious it was, and just how you took it all in stride and are able to laugh about it. But then to now be able to be in a production of Cats really is full circle.
I mean, it's third time's a charm because it was the Broadway audition, which was the White Unitard audition, the debacle. Yeah. And then it was the director session with Tom Hooper for the movie. For Rumpelteazer. So third time's a charm, you know. I was just waiting for the Vogue rendition of Cats.
Yeah. the White Unitard one is the story we talked about the first time, which is hilarious.
So and foolish.
Then I mean, it is, everyone should go back and listen to it because it's such a fun story and I love hearing your interpretation of it. But was that your reaction too, of like, this is third time a charm when you booked this?
Yeah, it was. Because I was like, what is this thing with Cats? It keeps like almost. It was just an almost thing. And I was like, okay, I guess Cats is just not meant for me, even though I always felt like that was the perfect show for me. Yeah, and I was like, okay, it's just not going to happen. And then it happened. And I'm so happy that it's with this version because it feels the most authentic to me, to my true self.
Yeah, it's a different version, and you are playing two different Cats in two different ways than I think are the way that most people are used to seeing them for Cats, which is, I think, a huge part of what makes this show great is the tweaks to the interpretation of the original source material.
Absolutely. I mean, I made a very purposeful choice as Cassandra to be more cat-like and to be more like homage to the original version. I like, you know, and she's much younger. So, you know, I had being two cats was a problem solver in the workshop. It was, so we did a workshop. They had 3 workshops. I was only in the 3rd and I was the last person cast. And then they were like, oh, in our version, Skimbleshanks needs to be late to the ball. They were like, we need you in the first act. So just be Cassandra. And I was like, okay. And it was just kind of like a problem solver. And then just doing the rehearsals for the PAC run, I had this like aha moment, this very deep identity moment with being these two cats. Because Cassandra became Emma in her 20s. The Emma that was very successful at a very young age and fierce and fun, but just like reckless and just kind of a mess. Like she's always chasing after boys and chasing after something. Like Cassandra, her physicality is very much like up here and always alert and looking around and searching for something external. And then Skimbleshanks is me now. You know, I'm 33, and this year has been very transformative for me just on a personal level. And I feel like I've kind of like evolved into the next Pokemon. My Pokemon has evolved, you know, and Skimbleshanks is Emma now after, you know, the pandemic was tough. You know, I shot the sitcom, which was cuckoo crazy. And after the sitcom, I came back to New York and I went through a mental health thing. I moved to Miami for a year because I was able to buy a house because of Call Your Mother. Thanks, ABC.
Yeah.
And I really had kind of a loss of identity. And then I had to rebuild that. Just, you know, life was lifing.
Yeah.
And I feel personally like I have evolved into the person that I'm going to be for the rest of my life, which is much more grounded, much more confident, and somebody who loves themselves.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I didn't really love myself in my 20s. I just was riding the wave of success and Broadway and TV and boyfriends and parties and this and that and this. And now I feel so much more in service for my community because I am grounded and I know who I am. And that is Skimbleshanks. Skimbleshanks, I read, like when I was doing research, there was this one great article. You know, there's so much fan fiction and fan articles. I know you know.
Yeah, more than most.
Yeah. And there was this one like quite philosophical interpretation of Skimbleshanks, and they were talking about like the themes of Skimbleshanks, like subtext, and they called him the unsung hero. He's one of those jobs that is under the radar, doesn't really get accolades for being in service for the community and for being in service in the railway train.
Yeah.
So it was this huge identity, like aha moment. I made this collage because Jalen and Bill were like, they put up all of our cats' names on the wall in the rehearsal studio at New 42, and they were like, bring in images. And I just had this like inspiration, and I was like, I'm gonna make a collage. And I like went into this like 4-hour like portal, and I cut up all these magazines. I printed all these pictures of myself, and it was literally what the collage became was Cassandra evolving into Skimbleshanks.
Yeah.
I like cried about it. It got deep, man. It got deep. And it was a happy, you know, and it was just a problem solver. It was an accident. They were like, oh, just be Cassandra. And then it became this reflection of my identity of Emma in her 20s evolving into Skimbleshanks. Like now I know who I am. I'm in service for the community and I'm a badass.
Yeah. Is that hard to go through that journey every night? Because you're essentially reliving both sides of that and that evolution, with your intermission being your like aha moment.
I mean, it's now we're in the flow. It's been, you know, we've had 2 weeks of audiences. I don't know. I'm
Every day blurs, I'm sure.
Everything is blurred. But now I'm in the swing of it and I'm in the pocket of the show. So it's become less emotional because I definitely did have in the studio some emotional, you know, just aha moments and vulnerability. It was a very vulnerable process. You know, Bill and Jalen created a really vulnerable environment, a very collaborative environment. So I was safe and able to go to those depths of creating these characters. But now it's just fun.
So let me pivot a little bit, and I want to talk about each of the two different cats, because you do have to kind of do like, you mentioned about how you had your own, it's like two different versions of you, but you're also two very different like personalities to portray in Act 1 versus Act 2. So Act 1, you are all over the place. I mean, you were just like energy, or you were moving around so much that it actually took me a second to realize that you weren't Skimble, because I didn't open the playbill and program. I was like, oh yeah, you're Skimble, but I was like, this doesn't look like Skimble.
No.
And but then it clicked of like, oh, this fits Cassandra so well. So did you like, how do you bring that particular mindset to the energy of like, I'm going to go kind of mess with people. I'm going to go around all the different seats, and like you are in people's faces. At one point you were like right in my face. Like you are definitely moving around during the Cassandra section.
Well, if you give me a stage and then give me the ability to be immersive with the audience, oh, honey, that's my playground. I lean into improvisation. I love interacting with audience. I'm that kind of a performer. Some would say fearless.
Yeah.
I really don't have shame, referring back to the Broadway Cats audition. I just don't really have shame. I just don't care. Like, I care about personal things, but when it comes to performance and when it comes to my art and my craft, I dive into the deep end, because I'm like, why not? So Cassandra just became, and I'm like, why did I do this to myself? Why did I do this to myself? Because I am running around. I don't stop and I don't leave the stage for Act 1.
Yeah.
But she's just this kind of ADD, really energized, just because we're at a ball. And Emma used to go to the club. I never went to balls, but I used to go dance at clubs up until last year, up until this year, up until right before we started Cats. I was go-go dancing and performing at an immersive production in a club. So that's where I thrive. I thrive in chaos and spontaneity. So I was like, okay, that's definitely going to be Cassandra. And it just kind of happened. It just kind of happened when we got into the stage, when we got into the space, because it's not a regular stage. It's not traditional. It's not proscenium. It's quite immersive. And then it just kind of became this like firework. Cassandra's just like so much energy, so just kind of like not really self-aware.
Yeah.
That's why she's talking to so many people, and she's always interrupting something, and then she's like ogling over Rum Tum Tugger the whole time, just trying to get his attention. She's just like, she's a kid. She's a kid. So yeah, I exhaust myself in the first act.
They did warn us when we sat down, because I was at one of the cabaret tables, and they said anything on this table is fair game, so just FYI. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, kind of like, what do you mean? And then all of a sudden, at one point, there's someone on the table behind us, and then you're like right in our face. And I was like, someone's going to just grab my drink here in a minute and start drinking it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. And honestly, I was like, it's your energy that you bring is what makes the performance super fun too, because you're moving around so much and you're like engaging with so many different people. I actually think that's part that I really like about this production a lot, is everybody is part of the show. And, they always said that with the Junkyard, that they want you to feel like you've entered the Junkyard in there, and you're lucky that Cats is letting you do that. But I really felt like you all let us come to the ball.
Well,
with
we broke the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Broke the fourth wall. We wanted, Bill and Jalen made it very clear that they wanted it to be a ball. And at a ball, every year you're in a huge crowd, and there's no, when the categories are up and there's like they're in those competitions when they're walking the category, it's like a cipher. Like people are on the ground on, or if it's on a runway, people are on the sides of the runway. So they really prioritized authenticity of the ball. We want it to be as authentic as possible. So it was, it kind of got in the way, not got in the way, but it was one of our biggest hurdles in the creation was remaining authentic to the ball scene, but also making it a narrative theater show.
Yeah.
So, the immersive kind of, I don't think it would work if it was proscenium. I don't think
I don't think that would have worked. And it was so fun talking to Bill and Jalen and to Josie and some of the other people that were involved with the creative, because it's such a delicate line to blur the ballroom scene, which has its own culture, its own backstory, its own history. And then the theater scene, which also, again, like this is not a new show. Like people are going to come in and say, I know Jillian Lynn's choreography and I know the music. And so you're taking
people are in the audience singing every single lyric.
Yeah.
There was a girl in the audience yesterday dressed as a cat with the wig and the face, the whole 9 yards. I was like, oh my God. And my friend who was Skimbleshanks on Broadway, he came last night. He's like family. He's one of my best friends of all time. He was Skimbleshanks on Broadway, which is such a gag for both of us. But he was like, oh yeah, get ready, get used to it. The fans are deep.
I love all of this because one is Alex was the one dressed last night who has been on this show before and came in full cat and sent me a picture of her coming to the show. Oh. You had some super fans from Cats at the show last night, and they had a blast. But my next question was going to be, I was introduced to you by Colin. By Skimbleshanks from Broadway.
Yeah.
And when I saw the casting, it was the first person I messaged after you was him and said, are you ready? Like, are you excited? And even after I saw the show, I messaged him being like, when are you going? Like, I want to hear what you think after you go.
You need to do an episode with him because I wish that there would have been a camera on him.
I would love to hear his take. He was hilarious. He was one of the first Skimbles I ever had on the show. And he's the one who introduced us. So did you talk to him before, like during the rehearsal process of like, here's how he portrayed? Because he was Uncle Skimble, was the way he told me.
Yes. He refers to himself as my gay uncle, him and his partner. They are my family. Like because I met Colin when I was 23 doing Finding Neverland, my Broadway debut. And he just took me under his wing and we got really close. We became collaborators. We've done cabaret shows together. We're two peas in a pod. So immediately when I got the audition, so Colin's partner is my physical therapist.
Okay.
And he's like a ubiquitous Broadway therapist. Like everybody uses it. He's just incredible. Like Patti LuPone goes to him.
Okay. Wow.
And so I got on his table and I was like, oh, I got this audition for a voguing ballroom Cats. Like what? And he was like, oh my God, which cat? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know Cats. Like what? And then I looked at my phone and I was like, oh, for Skimbleshanks. And he went, what? And I was like, what? He's like, Colin with Skimbleshanks. And I was like, oh yeah. Oh my God. So then when I was doing the self-tape in my living room, I was like, I don't know what to do. Because the breakdown for the audition was bilingual subway pole dancer. And I was like, okay. And then they sent me the song, which I didn't remember. I didn't remember Cats. It was such a blur watching the revival.
Yeah.
I was like, what's happening? I just didn't understand it. And so I listened to the song and I was like, first of all, it's in a male voice key. So it's very low. And it's a song, it's like a nonsensical song about being on a train. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And so I was just, I had Colin on the phone and he was just laughing the whole time. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And then I was like, Rosie Perez. And then I was like, oh, Tokisha. Tokisha is this new sensation. Like she does Dominican rap. It's this genre called derembao, which is from the like slums of the DR. And she was this like young street rat, like prostitute. Like she came from nothing. And it's just so fierce and amazing and so authentic to herself. She's like badass. Like she's incredible. And her music is so good. Like, and she's young. I found out who she was through my Dominican friends. And then she collaborated with Rosalia, who I'm obsessed with. So I was like, okay, I'm going to blend Rosie Perez and Tokisha. And Colin was like, great, call me back after you do a thing. So I like learned the song, whatever. Or that was like a day before I did the self-tape. And he was just laughing. He was like, I can't wait to hear what you do. Because we crack each other up. So the next day I like put on a whole outfit. I had these like stripper thigh-high boots that I had already owned, of course. And I had this like fur rainbow little crop top that I had worn as a go-go for Easter. You know, being a showgirl in the city, you got a lot of weird costumes. And I just kind of blended them together. And I did the first take and I sent it to Colin and he was like, great, I love it. But, you know, Skimbleshanks is like, everybody's supposed to love him, you know? So like, cause I was making it very like badass, like, you know, so it was a little, not off-putting, but he was like, make her friendlier.
Okay.
You know, so he was giving me like little notes. He's like, put in some humor here because you don't want it to just be one note. So I was like, great. Okay, I'm going to do another one. So I literally would do another one and then send it to him. And he was like, okay, great. Just do one more. He was having the time of his life. Like he just was cracking up the whole time. He was like, I can't believe this is real. He just couldn't believe it. And then finally I got the right take. And I was like, this is the one. It feels good. And he was like, Emma, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. If you don't book this, I don't know who will, because this is brilliant. Because he's so obsessed with cats. You know, any cast member of Cats, you kind of join the cult.
Totally.
Now, remember in the first episode, I was like, I really don't understand cats. Now I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm in. I drank the Kool Aid. I'm here. I love it. So he was so excited about the audition, and he showed everyone the audition. He was like, "This is the funniest thing I've ever seen," because it's so silly.
Yeah,
it's so silly that, you know, to be like New York pole dance. Well, it was supposed to be a pole dancer, but then we switched it to just like the MTA.
Yeah,
conductor. We kind of blended the conductor and the people who sit behind the little booth that like don't really do anything, but they like have, you know. So yeah, that was the audition and I was so proud of it. And they hired me like a week before we started. So I thought I didn't book it. I was like, okay, they must have found a unicorn because whatever. I was like, this always happens to me with cats.
Yeah.
Always. I've always almost, but then I booked it. So yeah.
That's
so Colin
so fun.
He was the first person I called to tell him that I booked it. And he was in rehearsal for The Great Gatsby because he was in the Gatsby. He's in Cabaret right now, but he was doing the Jeremy Jordan Great Gatsby. And he was in rehearsals, like in the middle of rehearsal, and picked up my FaceTime and started crying in in the corner.
I love it. You had Coach Skimble. I mean, you had your own Skimble coach.
And he's my best friend.
Yeah. That is so fun. Yeah, I got to see him in Cabaret. He's incredible in that too. God. So it's so fun, and it's fun to hear like that, how that comes full circle again. Like this is your best friend who played the same character on Broadway, is able to help you through this again. The third time's a charm, and again it brings it all back to life. And for anyone who goes and sees it, the Skimble number, it's always fun. It's always really fun. Like I've always found, like, you know, they build the train on Broadway and you know, it's a different time key. So it's definitely a bop, but your MTA, like you come out and just immediately own the runway and you do some of the song in Spanish, right? Like it's not all, it's like, there's just this, again, like everyone was floored by that. And so your whole number, the whole dancing, everything is captivating.
Thank you. I'm really proud of Skimbleshanks. I love her. I love being her. I love putting on that wig. That wig by Nikia Mathis. Oh my God. First of all, an actor. She's an actor. She's on Raising Kanan. And she just got into hair. And she did hair for Jaja's hair braiding.
Yeah.
And the Tonys created a category because they've never had a category for hair or makeup. And they gave her an honorary Tony for Jaja's hair braiding because her wigs were that good.
Wow.
They created a Tony for her for this past Tonys. So she literally was like going to Tony stuff in between coming into our wig room and setting wigs. Like she's just that girl. She's and the sweetest woman. And the wig that she made me for Skimbleshanks, ooh, honey, when I put that wig on, I said they made a mistake. They made a mistake giving me this wig. It's over. I was like, it's over. It's full stop. This wig is a personality within itself.
We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died. Yeah. By you all not being in Cat and having to kind of like, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't me and some of the super fans like Alex, who was there in Cat last night for you, who don't know the story and the characters as well. And they're not like what they're used to. So I was waiting and I knew you were going to be Skimble. I knew that's going to be a change. And when I saw your wig, I'm like, oh, that's the color of, like, that's the Skimble part that makes it. Besides the train and the MTA part, I was like, the wig is the Skimble. Yeah, it's the part that kind of like ties it all together, which again is, there's so many things. I need to go back many, many more times because being in, as I think you called it, the splash zone, but being in the middle of it, there was stuff happening behind me. And I picked up on some of those little Easter eggs and I'm like, what are the...
sit at the top.
Yeah, I want to.
You're in the splash zone. Now it's time for Eagle Eye.
Yeah, and I want to catch all those Easter eggs because there's got to be so many more that I missed the first time that you all very thoughtfully put into the show to honor cats while still honoring the ballroom.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a delicate recipe.
Yeah.
They did a lot of work. You know, Omari Wiles was one of the, so Josie is the dramaturge, but Omari, our co-choreographer, he was also a dramaturge because Josie was in and out. And, you know, Omari's been with the show since the inception. I think like 2 years ago now. Yeah, you said you started talking to Bill 2 years ago. It's been
2 years.
Yeah. So they really delicately and respectfully chose where to honor the original and where to honor ballroom.
Yeah.
Ballroom being the driving force since it is at a ball. You know, so we have to honor the history, we have to honor the techniques, we have to honor the community. First and foremost, we had to honor the community. So how can we be cats, but also be a part of this Black and brown diaspora, you know, this underground community that's shot to the top? You know, it's like the same thing. Like all Black and brown communities create the zeitgeist, the pop culture zeitgeist. Like it's been happening since jazz, you know, since the blues. It's, you know, all of this like incredible art comes from suffering, it comes from disparity, it comes from adversity, it comes from oppression. So we had to honor that as the forefront, at the forefront, and as the driving force. But then also Cats is a phenomenon. Cats is, and we have to honor Andrew Lloyd Webber's score. We have to honor the Old Possum, T.S. Eliot poetry book, you know, and then the choreography. So it was a delicate recipe that they did really well. And the workshop, and that's why it was so collaborative, because Bill and Jalen were like, yes, we are the drivers of this train, but you guys are what's going to make it real.
Yeah.
So it was really contingent upon the collaboration of the people cast and the creative team. Jalen told me that the hardest thing about this process was the casting.
Yeah. I bet too, because, and it seems like there's two parts to it that's interesting. One is the cats all have very distinct personalities, and you have to kind of find either someone that can play that personality or someone who already just is that personality.
Exactly.
But then the other half of that is that you wanted to mix the two scenes. So you wanted a mix of like the theater Broadway performers and the ballroom like the people that are in the ballroom scene. You needed both.
Yes.
And so you had to find both that could do both in some capacity, not fully, but like at least be able to do that. And then that helps with the collaboration because you get a ballroom person saying that would never happen in this scenario.
Exactly.
And you've got the theater person going, that wouldn't happen in Cats. Like there's that mix. And I think
that is what you just said is the theme and the mission statement of our creative process.
Yeah. And it landed too, because I'm mostly hearing from the theater and Cats people, because that's just generally who my show's audience is and who's mostly listened to this. And they have all loved it. And especially there's been a couple where I was like, these people might not like they're traditionalists with Cats. They're very hardcore. And so far, every single one of them has talked about how great it was. And so to be able to have that group love it and then have so many other people, like even Cats haters, love it is a testament to what you all put together.
Everybody loves it. My friend who also is a theater buff, is such a harsh critic. I was nervous for him too. I was like, okay, what's he gonna think? And he was like, this was brilliant. Every time I see a revival, I miss the original choreography. He said, I didn't even think about the original choreography because it worked so well. So the fact that he said that, I was like, oh, we got something here. We're good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The haters, I think you all eliminated two of the biggest critiques that Cats haters come to. And I don't think any of them are fair to begin with. I think most people it's not their cup of tea. But the two things most people say is well, they're in Cat and that's a little ridiculous, right? Like the costumes can be a little overpowering, and that the story is loose, right? Like the story's not that tight. Yeah. And which I disagree with on both of those. Yeah. I think they add to both, but that's the general sense. And your production has solved some of that. Like you give a much clearer story by having the ballroom element, and by not being in Cat, you're also in just like these incredible, I don't even want to call them costumes. They're outfits that are part of the scene. Yeah, they're looks.
Queen Jean did that.
Yeah. And so that takes away those things. And then there's just an energy in the audience, because I've said this a couple times now, that they tell you right in the beginning, this isn't like Broadway. Like, get into it, have fun. Like they warn you in the beginning to immerse yourself into it.
Disclaimer at the beginning. Yeah.
And I love that, because I thought that also brought up the crowd's into it, and they should be. And that is when you go in with that and you're expecting it, it's fun, right? Versus it being like, oh, I wasn't expecting someone to sing or to be part of it. And so I have loved every minute of it. I'm glad it's getting the amazing reception that it has, because it's deserved.
Oh, thank you. I mean, this feels like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's shows like this come around every so often. And when you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those where I've been gratitude crying every day. I've been so grateful for this show on so many different levels, because it truly is like Andre DeShields. He was like, this is a revolution.
Yeah.
This is a revolution. Like, he's a Broadway deity, Broadway legend. He's been in this game since before I was even a thought, before I was even a zygote. He knows Broadway. He knows theater.
Yeah.
And he is like, we are spearheading a revolution of theater by bringing a diaspora to the forefront, by bringing Black and brown queer people, like queer, like capital Q, queer, LGBTQ, like that's at the forefront of this show. It's not coded. It's not like, oh, there's a gay character or, oh, there's a Black character in this story. Like, no, this is our story. This is their story. This is our story, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm queer. I've been in the queer community. The queer community has really saved me because I moved here when I was 17 to go to college. I was at a conservatory at SUNY Purchase. And then I moved to the city, and the city's a crazy place,
Yeah.
you know, and I was lucky enough to book jobs, but I was very lost and in a lot of pain because my mother had just passed away, and I just didn't really, and I'd been in a cuckoo relationship, and the people who made me feel the most myself, the most empowered, the most loved and accepted in a way that I had never been before was the queer community and the nightlife queer community, specifically nightlife, specifically gay clubs and drag shows and gay clubs and drag shows. And I, met these trans women who brought me in to their groups with open arms, and they just saw me. They saw I had, and I knew I was fierce and I knew that I was talented, but I had a lot of self-doubt. And I always ended up with like boys who would make me feel bad about being so gregarious and so ebullient and big, and I would always try to make myself smaller. And the queer community, the trans Black femme community was the opposite.
Yeah.
It made me feel, they were like, go more. We love it. Bigger, more, be you. And that, I'm even getting emotional thinking about it like that. I was in my early 20s and I was like, oh my God, like go-go dancing at gay clubs, like makes me feel the most like myself I've ever felt in my entire life. So the fact that I'm doing a show with Andre DeShields and Junior LaBeija, who pioneered the voguing ballroom scene, like it feels like it was catered to me.
Yeah.
Because I never walked balls, but I always was mistaken for a voguer. Every time I'd be dancing at a club, people would be like, oh my God, what house are you in? I've seen you vogue before. You're at the house of Gucci. You're Orici. And I would just look at them and be like, yeah, yes, I am a voguer. You're right. But I never was, I just kind of always, that style just always like fit in my body. And then I worked with voguers. So I just kind of would look at what they were doing and just kind of add some of those voguing, moves. But yeah, so now I feel so lucky that I've got to work with these voguing and ballroom legends, because now I've refined that in myself and in my craft. And I just love it so much. So yeah, I feel indebted to the New York City queer scene, because I wouldn't be the performer and artist and human being that I am today if it wasn't for the Black community. So this is just such a gift. I'm just so grateful and proud, and I'm just,
It's so great to hear that too. Just like also bringing out the best of your own self, right? Like that you get to be you in the most you way possible, and accepted for that is what you want, right? And that's so great to hear, and to be part of a performance that allows you to do that.
It's a gift.
Shows it. Yeah, I'm
like, this doesn't happen.
Amazing.
This doesn't happen. The 2 times I've been on Broadway, I was playing a kid.
Yeah.
I played Wendy, which was so fun and so great. And then I played Veruca Salt, which was so fun and so great, but it was, very different side of myself, and it was very commercial.
Yeah. And now you get to playing a MTA sexy pole dancing skimble train conductor.
Like what?
What a full circle moment. No, it's I mean, again, so awesome. Let's do some rapid fire just to close this out here. So if you could go on for any other cat for one night, who would you want to go on as?
Victoria.
Victoria, baby. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
Her
fun.
solo's so good.
Yeah. Who are your favorite and least favorite cats personality wise?
Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser.
Our favorite or least favorite?
Least favorite.
Least favorite. Okay.
Cassandra and them have a rivalry. So I just when off the top of my head, I'm like, oh, they're the ones that I'm like, ugh, because they're thieves. They're thieves, and they go up in tag team against my house. So I'm like, ugh. But I love Dava and Jonathan in real life.
Yeah.
They're amazing. But they're definitely, the cats that get on my nerves the most.
Okay. What about favorite?
Favorite? I mean, Andre, Old Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Amazing.
He's just
A legend.
A legend. Yeah. And just to see him perform is a gift.
Favorite song from the show?
Memory. I wake up singing that song. It's annoying. I can't stop singing Memory.
Okay. If Skimbleshanks was leading a house, what would Skimbleshanks' house be named?
Oh my God. Maybe MTA.
The House of MTA.
MTA.
I love it. I've been trying to figure out where they all, like, if they had a house, how would they, like, describe them? Because it all sparked from the House of Glamour, which I thought was great. But then I'm like, all right, what are the other houses?
House of Railway. I like MTA.
MTA. I think MTA is right. Okay, the important question, and you answered this last time. I argued that I don't think Grisabelle's the right Jellicle choice. You did defend Grisabella last time. You've now been deep in the production. So has your mind changed, or are you still Team Grisabella for your Jellicle choice?
Team Grisabella all the way.
Sticking with it. All right. I'm not going to try to argue you. I'm not sure if I'm going to count your vote twice, though. I think you only get to count once in the rankings. How can people stay in touch with you on social media and everything else you're working on?
I am on Instagram. It's Emma Sofia with an F. Okay. O-K-A-Y. Emma Sofia. Okay. That's my handle. I just got a TikTok for the first time, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And I'm never on it. I literally just got it to see us because we went viral. But I guess you could follow me on TikTok too, even though I literally have one post and I follow one person. But sure, follow me on TikTok. Okay.
Yeah, you all did go viral, and it is crazy. I don't use TikTok that much either. I do have it, and I did post one like right after going, and it also not viral, but like it's a lot more views and likes than anything I've ever posted. And then I even had an Instagram just meme of like the girl yelling at the guy. And even I
posted that. It is so funny.
That was me. So same thing.
I love that.
That also has gone a little mini viral for the amount of followers that my show has on social media. So it's you all are a driving force of a lot of internet lore right now, which is super fun.
I have had people on the street, literally, because I was like warming up my voice. I was doing a vocal warm up, walking to the subway. And some girl was like, vocal warm up. Like, so, and she's like, what show are you in? And I was like, Cats. She was like, oh my God, you're on Cats? And like, literally so many people just randomly have been like, you're in Cats? Oh my God, I know Cats. And it's like everywhere. Like even my coffee shop is like, wow, your show is doing really well. Everybody knows about it. Like everybody, it's the talk of the town.
Yeah. It is. It has definitely been the talk of the town on all theater, especially with the theater group, because, again, there was such anticipation, and then it's delivered so well that now it went from this, like, well, what are we going to see, to the, wow, you've got to go see this.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Kudos to you all. It's been amazing. So everybody needs to run to the PAC. Open till July 28th.
Yeah.
And so tickets are hard to find now, so...
Possible further extension till August. We don't know yet, but I hope that we extend so that everybody can come see. And the PAC does really great accessibility, like tickets. Like there's 30
Yeah.
30. There's veterans, educator discounts. There's group discounts. So the PAC is trying to make theater more accessible.
Yeah, you can definitely find tickets. Hopefully by the time this comes out, then it'll already be extended, which will be great.
I hope so.
But yeah,
I hope so.
But I hope everyone gets a chance to see it. Maybe you can record it, find different ways to make sure it's available for everyone. Because I've had overseas people also message me being like, I can't get to New York. How do I see this? So I'm hopeful because I think everyone needs to see it.
Oh, I agree. I think it's the word that keeps coming up for the show is joy.
Yeah,
It's just
it's
joy.
perfect for it.
It's pure joy.
What I want you to do is one day I want you to go back and find that old audition white leotard, and I want you to bring it to the performance and wrap up this full circle moment of your third time's a charm.
Burn it.
Yeah,
Burn the
sacrifice
white
it.
leotard.
Send it up to the Heaviside layer
Yeah,
and call it a day.
I will do that. I have that unitard still.
Well, I'm sure you do. You're not
I
gonna get rid of
still have
that.
it.
You've got all your go-go dancing. You've got costumes and props and everything. I assume you still have it.
Honey, this closet right there, it's got all of it, all the memories. All the memories.
I love it. Well, this has been so fun. I loved getting to see you perform and get your cat's moment and be able to bring this full circle and talk to you again now that you are.
The last time I was in my dressing room on the CBS Radford lot
Yeah.
shooting Call Your Mother. So,
Yeah.
and now I'm in my Harlem apartment. You know, life is crazy.
It is. And that Call Your Mother show, your character stole that show. It was so fun. So
Thank you. You're one of the 12 people who watched it.
I will say I watched it because of interviewing with you, and I did enjoy your character thoroughly.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was a fun watch. And then again, I love that you got to have Colin too come see it, and I just like everything about this has been so fun. So I'm glad.
Saw it yesterday, and at intermission, I got a text that just said, "I'm not okay." Period.
Yeah, I think that's how most people are feeling. It's like it's a lot, and that's before he got to see your skimble. So he's not okay before that moment.
I know.
Oh, so fun. Well, this has been a blast. I appreciate you coming on your day off and sharing and bringing us again full circle.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Amazing. Well, thank you, and thanks everyone else for listening to this episode of The Round Cat Died, the podcast breaking the catastrophe. To follow along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else listen to podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at The Round Cat Died, or check out our website, theroundcatdied.com.